All right, today we're jumping into the incredible history of one of the world's oldest and most influential civilizations, Iran. From the heart of ancient Persia all the way to the modern-day republic, this is a truly epic story of power, resilience, and constant change.
So, here's the big question we're going to tackle. How did the world's very first superpower become the Islamic Republic we know today? We're going to follow the thread, hitting the crucial turning points that shaped Iran's journey over thousands of years. It's a complex history for sure, but by looking at these key moments, you can really see the path that led to the present.
Okay, let's wind the clock way back, over 2,500 years ago. This isn't just where the history of a country begins, it's really the birth of the idea of a unified Iranian nation. And with it came the world's first true superpower.
So first up, you have the Medes. They kind of laid the groundwork by uniting the Iranian tribes. But it was Cyrus the Great who took that foundation and built something the world had never seen. He created the Achaemenid dynasty, forging a superpower on a scale that was just unprecedented.
I mean, just try to wrap your head around the sheer scale here. But what's really amazing is that the Persian Empire wasn't just big, it was revolutionary in how it was run. It became this model of relative tolerance, respecting all the different cultures and religions it ruled over, which was a pretty stark contrast to many empires that came later.
And you know, this impact wasn't lost on later thinkers. The famous philosopher Hegel actually called the Persians a pivotal force in the whole story of civilization. He saw them as a people who truly bent the arc of history.
But after hitting this incredible peak, Iran's story takes a really dramatic turn. It enters this long, brutal cycle of invasion. And yet, through all of that, its culture would prove to be remarkably, almost stubbornly, resilient.
After Alexander the Great, it was like a revolving door of conquerors. You had the Greeks, the Arabs, various Turkic tribes, and then, maybe the most devastating of all, the Mongols under Genghis Khan. Each one left their mark, and honestly, each one could have easily wiped Persian culture right off the map. But here's where something fascinating happens, again and again. Instead of being erased, Iran kind of absorbs its conquerors. It's a process called Persianization, where the invaders slowly start adopting the sophisticated Persian language, its art, its way of running a government. In a very real way, the conquered ended up conquering the conquerors. And you can't see a clearer example of this than after the Arab conquest in the 7th century. Iranians did gradually adopt Islam, but as the great historian Bernard Lewis put it, they were Islamized but not Arabized. That powerful, distinct Persian identity was fiercely protected, and it came back to deeply shape the entire Islamic world. Okay, let's jump forward in time, because the next monumental shift comes in the 16th century. A new dynasty rises up, and it doesn't just reunite Iran under native rule for the first time in ages, it completely reshapes the nation's religious and political identity. Forever. Think about that. For over 800 years, Iran had been governed by Arab, Turkish, or Mongol rulers. So when the Safavids came to power, it was this huge reclaiming of sovereignty. It really set the stage for the Iran we recognize today. But Shah Ismail didn't just build an empire. He made a decision that would echo through the centuries. He made Twelver Shia Islam the official state religion. Now, this single act drew one of the most significant political and cultural lines in the Middle East, creating this profound and lasting difference between Shia Iran and its powerful Sunni neighbors like the Ottoman Empire. And that distinction, it's still absolutely central to the region's geopolitics to this day.
All right, let's fast forward to the modern era where things get, well, really complicated. Iran finds itself caught in the middle of the great game between the British and Russian empires, and it's completely transformed by the discovery of one single resource that would change the world: oil.
The 20th century was just a whirlwind. It kicked off with a democratic revolution that actually created a parliament, but then oil was discovered, and that quickly turned Iran into a massive prize in global politics. A new monarchy, the Pahlavi dynasty, took over, and that led to this dramatic showdown over who would control Iran's incredible natural wealth.
Now, this moment, the 1953 coup, you really cannot overstate how important this is to modern Iranian history. The democratically elected prime minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, dared to nationalize the British-controlled oil industry, and for that, he was overthrown in a coup helped along by the CIA and MI6. This act just crushed a growing democracy, put the Shah on the throne as an absolute monarch, and planted these deep seeds of resentment against the West that would explode a generation later.
So after that coup, you have the Shah in power.
and his increasingly autocratic rule, his lavish spending, and his very close ties to the United States, well, it all fueled this widespread anger that was just simmering below the surface. Eventually, that anger boiled over, and it led to the final, huge transformation of the 20th century.
And we have to be clear, this was so much more than just a change in government. This was the end of an entire ancient system. The revolution, led by the exiled cleric Ayatollah Khomeini, just swept away thousands of years of monarchy and replaced it with something radically new.
So, what was this new republic built on? It was founded on this unique political idea called Vilayat-e-Faqih. Basically, it established a theocratic system where the ultimate authority doesn't rest with, say, an elected president, but with a supreme leader, the country's top religious legal scholar.
And right from the get-go, the Islamic Republic was shaped by some major conflicts. The Iran hostage crisis immediately shattered its relationship with the U.S. Then came a brutal 8-year war with Iraq that devastated the country, but also helped solidify the new government's grip on power. And of course, more recently, its nuclear program and ongoing tensions with the West continue to define its path on the world stage.
So when you look back at this incredible journey, from the world's first superpower to a modern Islamic republic, you see this powerful story of empire, of survival, and of revolution. It's a civilization defined by its amazing ability to endure and to transform. And that leaves us with the ultimate question. For a nation that has constantly remade itself for millennia, what on earth comes next?